Dr. Craig,
Dr.
I want to
Francois.
ask you a question about forgiveness today. Can I do it?
Of course you can.
So, I know it's not always easy to forgive, and perhaps while you're listening, you experience that. It's not always your emotions don't allow you always to forgive. But the Word of God says, I must forgive. How do you feel about that?
So from experience, it's a very difficult thing because your head and your heart don't always align. But you shared something earlier when we spoke about decree and declare. So if I declare that I have forgiven somebody and I've set them free, that means they're forgiven. Whether my head has come in line with my heart or not. So let's quickly
But
talk.
why would you do that?
Because the Word of God commands it. The Word of God says, in fact, Jesus gives us such authority. He says, if you forgive their sin, I've forgiven it.
That's it.
So the responsibility and let's say in my situation, my grandparents passed away. I inherited a piece of land. It was stolen from us by the family. And the way it came out, I walked with bitterness for a while because I had to sort out my heart. And when I got to the point where I said to the Lord, you know what, Father, your word says I need to forgive. I'm really battling with this because this was my inheritance. They weren't involved in it. They didn't go through what I went through. And the Lord said to me, more of you. Carry on. I'm listening. What else? What else do you want to tell me how good you are, how fantastic you are? That's why I love the Word. You go back to the Word says, if you love the world and the things of the world, you hate God. I had to go back and say, Lord, you know what? They're material things. My relationship with you is more important. The way that I hear your voice, the way that I live my life, the righteousness I have been taught through the Word is the way I need to live. So until I can forgive and until I can walk away and say, you know what? It doesn't actually matter. The Word of God says, not only I can go into the spiritual side and say that Satan's got to pay back so many times, but was it really stolen from me? Or was God testing my heart? Today, when I look at my house and I look at what I have, do I go back and say, but I could have had more? Where do you draw the line? So forgiveness for me is the everything.
So it's a decision that you make because God asks you. It's not how you feel emotionally.
It's a willful decision, but you have to do it because the Word of God says, if you do not forgive, He can't forgive. I always teach people, and I know we're going to go over time now, I always teach people one small lesson in life. There's a thing called double jeopardy. So double jeopardy means if you stand before the judge and you're found guilty of murder, and the judge exonerates you or sets you free and says you weren't found guilty of murder. But years later, DNA changes and they've now found you guilty. They cannot charge you with murder again, but they can charge you with manslaughter. Exactly the same way with the Word of God. If the Word of God says He has set you free, it means you're free. You cannot go back. So, if I'm free and those around me offend me, I have to go back to them, in my head maybe. Maybe I don't have enough courage to go to them. And I set them free. Then God can answer my prayers.
Thank you, Dr. Craig. This is wonderful. And I pray that God will give you the grace to forgive. You know, so many sicknesses today can be related to unforgiveness.
Yes.
Don't go that route. If you forgive, you open the doors of jail for yourself in the first place.
Yes.
So may you experience His grace to do that. God bless you.